for another go. Alright, I still think I've got my camera crooked. No, that's the wrong way. Actually, I must have it wrong on the stand or something. Like the stand's like this, but the camera looks straight now. That's weird. So, it looks like YouTube's up and running. Good deal. Alright, is anybody there? I'm going to go ahead and get my phone going so I can see Facebook comments. There we are. Is anybody ready to start making stuff? I know I am. Get done with all that boring stuff and start making fun things. So, hey Bridget. Has anybody thought of any questions from last session while we were on break there? I know I saw a couple in the Facebook group that I did go back and answer. And just know that if I don't answer your question, it's because I don't see it. Whenever I went and reviewed everything after I got off of here last time, I saw some comments in there, and even though I looked a million times, they weren't there. So I don't know what the deal is. Ready to go, Diane says. Hey, Susan. Kristen's excited. Hey, Shirley, you're back. All right, let me see what YouTube's doing. Hey, Janet. Oh, Janet, you had to work today? Oh, that's no fun. You need to get a job like mine where it's fun. I used to have that, though, for many, many years. But good. I'm glad you could join us, Janet. Hey, Connie. There's Barbara. Kathleen's here. Okay, I'm going to wait for just a little bit, just to let some people kind of filter in. I saw somebody would ask the question about the size of the container in the last session. That was one of the questions I didn't see when I was here live. But I think it's like 12 inches, maybe not. Well, it's about 10 inches, a 10-inch circle. That's the widest part. I got this at Hobby Lobby. Actually, if you saw the live video when I went shopping the other day, I saw it. I didn't buy it that day, but I went back another day, and I had another container. I'll show it to you. Here's the other container. This is the original one I planned on using, but and either one of them would work. So if you have something rustic like this, that would be fine too. But if I were going to do this on this one, I'd probably use a little bit stronger greenery, like a stronger dark greenery. My plan is, if I have enough of it, we had no eucalyptus sprays, plain eucalyptus sprays at our Hobby Lobby. They didn't have a lot of stuff, but if I have enough, that's what I plan with the lamb's ear, but we'll see. Hey, Catherine. Got to catch up. Yeah, healthcare. Hey, nurse practitioner here, retired nurse practitioner. And that's what I said. I was telling somebody the other day, my mom said, I think you need to go back to your old job so you don't work as much. And but here I have a choice if I want to work or not. And you know, I told her, I said, I've worked my share of holidays, weekends, night call, the whole shebang, and I'm done with that part. So, okay. Hey, Vince, there's Connie back. And there's Sharon from Columbus. Jamie. Hey, Terry, how are you? Okay, all right, let's get started. Now, first I want to tell you about the supplies. Like I told you, I went into Hobby Lobby the other day. I'm wanting to, some of the arrangements that we're making, I got supplies, almost all of it from Hobby Lobby, because I wanted to get some things that you guys could get the same thing, or at least similar. Now later on, actually tomorrow, the last two, I don't know what I'm using yet. I'm probably going because I wanted sprays. I might go back to Hobby Lobby one more time to see if they have a particular spray that I might have missed over for one of the arrangements tomorrow. But I'm trying to get things where you can get the similar supplies. So, but anyway, I really couldn't ever find exactly what I wanted. I did actually. This is a Hobby Lobby bush that I had on hand already, and you can see I've already cut some of these off, and I didn't use them in an arrangement. And I didn't have a SKU number or anything, but I know they have these almost every year. But they're just like a blush peony, and if you look into it, and this is one thing I want you to kind of hone in on, is look at all the color of the flower. It doesn't just have the you know, the blush color, but then you look inside and it has a little bit darker colored pink. And then we also need to consider the greenery if we're going to use it. I have a feeling I'm going to need to use some of it because, like I said, my greenery is sparse, what I have. But I just think these blush peonies, lamb's ear, and the bluish green eucalyptus really plays well together. All the colors just, I was wanting kind of a soft look, and that's why I chose this container instead of this one. This was the original container I was going to use, but I went back and I bought this one instead because I wanted it. And this is going to be for my own home. This is ceramic. I will not ship this. I will not ship anything that's breakable. But you know, if you decide to, you're just going to need to have a heck of a lot of bubble wrap and secure it very tightly. But we're going to make this so that I can reuse it, and I want you to see that. Some of the other ones we won't make that way, but this one I want to. Okay? And you guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I will every now and then stop and look at them, but you know how easy I get distracted. So, hey Sharon, hey Joni, and there's another Joni, good deal. All right, so inspiration for this design, and when I went to Hobby Lobby, I wanted something else that had just a little stronger pink than this, and I saw this bush. Actually, this bush was the original inspiration, but when I got it home, under the lights, it looks more, and I don't know if you can see it, it looks more like buttery and yellow in this area. I do still want to use these, and I probably will use these. I don't know about the others or not. So that's why I put tentative list, because until everything gets put together, I don't know what we're going to use. Okay? All right. That's just the way I operate. Now, I pulled some other options that you can use as well. This is not a Hobby Lobby bush, but they have one very similar. You could very well have gotten this one, okay? You could add these peonies as well if you wanted to, but you could just make something off of this, or myself, if I was going to make this size a container, I would probably get 2 of these bushes. Although you could make it work, but it'd be a little bit more sparse than what I like. And then you could also, instead of the dahlias, you could have used a pink hydrangea. Okay. Here's another thing I bought too. I saw these. They were 75 cents a piece, so I couldn't turn them out. Oh, couldn't turn them down. But I thought those might look cute too, just as it really gives a pop of color, but they're just a little bit more bold in the pink than I wanted. I wanted more of a soft, muted pink. But just know those are options, okay? All right, so I think that's all I wanted to tell you to start with, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to prepare the container. As I said, this is going to be something temporary that I can take out. I can reuse this container. And to do that, now it's pretty deep. I'm not sure how tall it is. It's about 6 inches tall, so it's pretty deep. We do not have to fill this whole container. But what I need to do, I had already gone ahead and I cut around to get a piece that's going to fit up here. But I needed some kind of support down below because, I mean, if I was really careful, I might be able to chance putting this in here and maybe putting something like some paper down there, but it's not going to be very stable. And I've got grandkids. So I did find a couple of scraps that I'm going to put together, and we're going to put that down there so that then I can lay this on top of it. Does that make sense? And actually the bottom part, we're going to wedge this all together. When I'm making arrangements and I'm cutting my foam, if I've got decent sizes, and even I've got a little box underneath my table, even if I have a piece like this, this is great for, you know, wedging in here and kind of making a shimmy, so to speak. So I saved these pieces. I'm a hoarder. I don't want to have to waste stuff if I don't have to. All right, now, like I said, I've got these two pieces, and I already tried it once. Let me make sure. And I'm going to have to put these two together. Have to remember how I had them together here. Okay, that's going to be too tall. Sometimes I will do that. I'll put the foam a little bit higher than the container. The thing about it is it's going to require more supplies, because you're going to have to put more supplies around the edge there so that the foam is hidden. We're going to cover it with moss, but still, you need to think about that. There's sometimes when I'll do that when I want a real drapey look, then I might do that, but usually I don't. All right, let me see how I had these in here. I've got a big piece and a smaller piece. I think I just had them right on top of each other. I'm going to have to trim it down just a little bit. And for that, oh, my knife's over here. Wait, hang on. For that, I'm just going to trim a little bit. I just use whatever knife I have. I used to have a steak knife down here that I used, and I think I accidentally threw it away. So my husband's pocket knife's sitting over there, so I just stole it. And you just got to score it, basically, and you can trim it off. It'll break right off. I'm just trying to make that to where it sits down on the bottom flesh. You need to cut this little piece off here. I'm going to move you guys down just a bit here. Okay. All right, so this part fits down flush. This part I think should be okay because it kind of wells out there. Let me try this one more time here just to make sure. Okay, that's just the right height. I could go a little lower if I wanted to, but it's okay. I'm going to probably trim around the sides. Now, I need to take these two pieces. I don't want them down there loose. So I'm going to take these two and fuse them together. And to do that, I'm just going to take some glue. I'm going to dip it in my container or my glue pot over here. And I'm not going to be very generous on it. You know, usually I'm pretty generous on it, on the glue. But I don't want it dripping onto my pot. I'm just going to take these two together. It doesn't have to be neat and tidy or anything. It just has to be together. Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to do, again, this is going to be temporary, so I want to be able to take it out. They do have I think it's an Oasis tape or some kind of floral tape that is double-sided that you can actually use inside a container like this to do what I'm going to do, but I just use duct tape. And I just need a small piece. We're going to double it over. I think that's probably good enough. Then I just fold it over. Okay, I think that's good. All right, now I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use my glue gun. I'm going to use my glue pot because I don't want to melt that tape. I'm just going to take a little bit. I've got a skewer that I'm putting the glue on with. And again, I'm not going willy-nilly down the, usually I'll get it pretty sloppy. I'm going to try to stay mostly in the center here. Let me just set that on top of there. I did get a little bit on the side. I'm just going to brush it off. Make sure that's down on there good. And that's the difference I was telling you earlier when we were talking about tools. That's why I like the hot glue, or the glue pot, or glue pan. I could not have touched this like this if I had used the glue gun. It gets way too hot. All right, now I'm going to take this. I've got some of the foam dust in there. I'm just going to knock it out. Make sure my bottom's good and dry, clean. Back up a little bit here. Hang on, I'm moving you guys around here. Don't anybody get seasick. Okay, and then I'm just going to take this and glue it down here to the bottom. Okay? All right, now I'm going to take a little bit more glue and I'm going to put it right down through here, on top here, and then I'm going to set my disc on top of that. I'm just taking it and right down the center, maybe a little bit more. And it doesn't take a whole lot. Okay, now I'll take this over top, put that down on there, put it down tight. Okay, all right, now I need to stabilize this just a little bit more. Like I said, the glue will hold it pretty well, but I usually go ahead and use some floral pins also. Not pins, but picks. I was trying to find that one that I broke the wire off of earlier, but I don't see it now. Oh, here it is. And I'm going to look down there and see where my other one is, or the one that's on the bottom that we put in there first. And I'm going to go at an angle. Push that down. Okay. And then I'm going to come the other way. I'm going to get this wire off of this one. Okay. All right, so now that's what we have. Okay, if you want to put more in there, you could, but that's in there pretty stable. And now we're going to go ahead and prepare it with some moss. Now, here's one thing where you'll see a lot of people differ. Let me get my moss here. And again, if you missed the first part, or the last part, this is the kind of moss I use. I just get mine at Walmart. Okay. They have smaller bags, but what I'm working with, I always keep that in a box. And if you want to be real neat and tidy, you could put a paper down or something, because this is messy when I put this moss on here, but I usually just wing it, because I usually end up having to wipe the table off anyway. And I just grab out some of this moss, and now some people will go ahead and cover this with glue. I don't do that. I was taught to secure it with floral pins, if anything. Our stems are going to help to hold this in there, or hold the moss on there too. But if you use the Gorilla Glue like what I'm using, it is really hard. I mean, it dries really hard and firm, and you can have some trouble getting your stems in. And so I just use the floral pins. I've never had any problems. I'm going to take this and kind of tuck this around the edges here where there's a little bit of a gap. It does not have to be covered completely. I just had that splash all over my face. Probably wearing a lot of it. A big stick in that one. Come here. Sometimes I actually have to take my pliers and kind of wedge it down in there if it's too tight. Just go all the way around. I'm probably more worried of covering the sides than I am of the top, because like I said, the top is going to be covered mostly by florals. And actually, this is a little taller than I would have liked. I would have liked this to be a little bit more flush, but we're going to work with it. You'll find if you follow me, you'll know I don't worry about it. Everything's doesn't have to be perfect. Think about nature. Nature's not perfect, right? Put this in. I think the sides are okay. Right, now let's put just a little bit on top. I'm going to get my floral pins now. Remember, these are the floral pins, that big like paper clip looking thing. I'm just going to put a few of them here and there. And if you want to, you can put glue on your pins before you put it in there. I typically don't when I'm doing this part. Like I said, the florals are going to be holding a lot of it in there. Let's see. I'm going to get this edge over here just a little bit better. Pin on there. think that looks good. All right, and you can see that I do not have all the foam covered. If there's anything that's showing after we get done, we can always come back here and correct it. All right, now I'm going to get my mess picked up here. Like I said, even if I use paper underneath of my container, I still get a mess. Get all this off in the trash. Everybody doing okay? Has anybody thought of any questions? I'll take a second when I get done doing this. I'll check on check and see if we got any. Oh, you're welcome, Diane. Yes, moss is messy, Vince. That's exactly right. All right, I'm going to drop you down just a bit more. It still don't feel like you got, there we go. Okay. Now, usually the first thing I like to do on these round placements is go ahead and put some greenery around the bottom. And you remember we talked about the lower deck, the upper deck, and the penthouse, and I usually follow that same design. And then we'll have to see. Like I said, I'm kind of wondering about my greenery. I don't know if I have enough. I wish I had more. It's like I said, it's kind of sparse. I'm just taking what I'm using, but if I could have found a spray of this, and if you can, that's my preference. But I'm just taking apart. I saw that was one of the questions I saw that I missed in the last session was, do I take this spray, the spray we talked about, the Hobby Lobby spray I love, do I take it into and use it into parts? And yes, I do. Most times. Now, really though, that being said, if you wanted to, you could make a wreath out of 2 of these real easy, or a swag. I mean, just keeping it just like it is, fluff it out a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to go through here and I'm going to find all the eucalyptus, the longleaf eucalyptus, because that's what I want to use for this design. And I'm just taking it and tearing it apart here. Well, I'm trying to anyway. I'm going to have to clip it, I guess. And, you know, this is one thing that I want you to consider when you're looking for your supplies. Again, just like I was telling you about those pushers and sliders earlier with the greenery. You know, how can I take this apart and make it into something else? This is exactly what I was talking about. In fact, you know what? I don't know if I told you guys either when we were talking about greenery. I wanted to mention that you know, there's a lot of times that garlands could be used instead of going out and buying a bush of greenery. A lot of times you can get your more bang for your buck for that. And in fact, in the wintertime, I do that a lot for my winter greenery. The garlands are a little bit easier to find for winter florals than it is for other seasons. All right, I'm just taking all the longleaf eucalyptus out. All right, I think that's it. Well, there was more on there than I thought there was. Now, here's the problem with that, though. This is a plastic stem, okay? It's a little bit more firm down here, so I don't know if we're going to be able to, you know, put that in there. But here's the thing: I'd also like it to drape. So, and it's not wired. This is just plastic right here. So I might be just better off just to go ahead and pin those in. In fact, I think I might. I think I'm going to. Okay, now, before I get started, though, I want to explain something. I've actually got 10 peony heads. As I said, this bush has been borrowed off of. I did have, I think, 4 of them that were loose. I'm going to plan on using 9. And remember what I talked about as far as spacing, or as far as deciding how I'm going to split it up. I've got 9, so I'm going to cut it in half, so that's 4 and 4 with 1 extra. The 1 extra is going to be my flower that I have, you know, in the penthouse up here. Okay? So I can put 4 and 4 around. So I want to do 4 and 4 with my eucalyptus. Okay? So let's go ahead and I want to see what how far I want to go out. I don't want it to be real huge. I'm thinking maybe have it drape out about like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a floral pin. Now this time I am going to drop it in some glue, just the tips of it. I dropped in some glue. And I'm going to glue it. I'm not going to glue it back here, or I'm not going to pin it back here. I'm going to pin it right here, right where there's a Y, because I don't want somebody pulling on this and then it pulling out. Okay. Now I'm hoping that it's going to lay right. Like I said, it's not wired, so if I pull it in a little bit, it'll drape a little better. Okay, so I'm going to put one there. I am going to go ahead and clip off this big stem because we don't need it. Now I'm going to do 4 down on this lower level. I'm going to look over here. I'm going to try to make it about the same distance on either side. Again, it does not have to be perfect, right? So if I'm looking at it, it looks like I've got my pot pretty well centered, and I'm just right at the edge over here, so I'm looking over here. I think that looks centered, more or less. So I'm going to bring this right over here on this side, just right opposite. Actually, this is probably more opposite right here. Get some more pins. And again, I'm going right there at that Y on that leaf. Hope you can see what I'm talking about there. I'm not up on the stem, I'm down there by those leaves. Okay, trim this thing off. All right, now I'm going to go on the other sides. So I'm doing about 12, 6, 3, and 9. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this off. Put this right here. Another pin. Okay. It'd be better if these were wired, but like I said, since they're not, we're going to have to work with what we have. All right, now I'm going to come over here at 6 o'clock. Get that in. Okay, so that's what we have so far. This one here is sticking out just a little bit more than I'd like, but we're going to put some florals in there. It's probably going to push it down anyway, so that's okay. All right, now we need some up a little higher. And you know what? I bet I'm not going to be able to. No, I think these will go down in there. They've got these little barbs on the ends. I don't know if you can see that. Have little barbs, and it's kind of firm right there, so I think we can push those in there. what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here in between these, and we're going to do what we call the upper deck. Okay? Lower deck, upper deck. And these are going to be coming in a little bit closer to the center. Let's put it about right here. There, that worked. Again, I wish it was wired. If we had to, we could do that wire trick that I showed you this morning with the floral wire wrapping the stem, but I don't think we need to. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing over here. And I'm kind of making a little pilot hole here in the moss to make sure I don't drag that moss down through that foam as I insert this. Okay. It's kind of wild now, right now, doesn't it? All right. Oh, and this one's good and wired, but this one looks a little bit different than the other, so I'm going to save this wired one. Looks like I got two wired ones that look pretty much the same. I'm going to save those for the middle here. And this one's wired too. I don't know why some of them are wired, some of them are not. I'm going to keep on using the same ones though, since we've already started with those. And as I said, I'm just going in between these and a little bit higher and a little bit more toward the center. That to go over just a little bit. He's wanting to go over there to his neighbor. Let me see if I can pull that back out. And I have to use my pliers here to get that pushed down in there, right? Oh, that's just not wanting to cooperate at all. I'm going to leave it right there for right now. Again, some florals might push that down. If nothing else, we'll deal with it later. I can always bring one of those wired ones in here. But he's just got his mind that he wants to lay that way, so we're going to let him do it. Okay. Okay, I think I got that better. All right, so now I've got one of those in each one of those spaces in between. And see, they're kind of coming out of the middle, kind of like halfway between the edge and the exact center here. Okay. All right, now let's do the center. And for that, I'm going to use these wired ones. I'm going to see if I can find a couple that look about the same. Okay, I found those. And I want them about the same height. So I'm going to take them and hold them side by side here. Make sure my wire's straight. And I'm just going to trim them off even. Okay, so I've got two pieces that are the same. Now, I wanted to put those in there right in the top, and I want them to go opposite. Okay? You want to make sure that they're flaring outward, not like this. Okay? You want it to think about how they would grow in nature, and they'd be growing like this. Okay? Dip it in some glue. Let's see. We'll go right this way. All right, now I'll put the other one in. And this is going to be facing that one. Coming almost out of the same hole. Pretty close. Oh, and one of the leaves just fell off. Okay, so one of my leaves fell off, so all I'm going to do, I'm going to dip this end in the glue pot and stick that right back on. And when I do that, it's probably better off than it was before, because I don't know why they don't glue these, but they don't most times. All right, so that's what we have so far. Let me raise up just a bit. Kind of looks tropical almost, doesn't it? Okay, now let's go ahead and we'll start placing our focal flowers. And remember, we've got focal flowers and we've got filler flowers. I'm going to check and see if we have any questions. Okay, Valerie's wanting to explain the numbers of florals heads compared to the eucalyptus again. It's pretty much even, Valerie. I'm going to put a peony head in right where I put all these other, the eucalyptus, except in the center there's just going to be one. Okay? Hope that helps. Oh, Glenda, you're breaking up. Come back. Glenda, if you're watching on your iPad, I know a lot of people have been having iPad trouble this week. Susan's wanting to know, all right, am I angling the second set of greenery about a 45-degree angle? Yes. Yes, just to get it up kind of in the middle. You know, we got the top here, we got the lower, and then this is the middle. Okay? All right, now, as I said, I'm going to put one of these peony heads at each place where I have the greenery. So let's see. I think this is going to be too long. I don't want this to be a humongous arrangement. I'm just going to play with it here and see about how tall I want it. And that's another thing. As far as the container and the height of your arrangement, Old School said that it needed to be no more than 1.5 to 2 times higher than the arrangement or the container is tall. So what I say, this was like 6 inches. So this would not, you would not want this more than, so 1.5 would be 9 to 12 inches. Okay, that's Old School. Some people still follow it, but and if you want to, that's fine too. Nowadays, it's pretty much everything or anything goes, whatever you visually like. And I'm thinking, I need to stand back here. I'm thinking I like this height right here. And how I'm going to decide where I'm going to trim my stem, because all the stems I'm going to want to trim them about the same height, okay? Because this is going to establish my line. I'm just taking this down here and I'm setting it at the green or at the foam. Could even go a little shorter probably if I wanted to. I'm going to the foam and then I'm bending it right here where it hit the foam, and then I'm going to want to go just a little bit further because I'm going to straighten this out, and then that'll be the part that goes in the container. Okay, so I'm going to straighten it out. It was just about right at that leaf where I was going to place it. So I'm going to say I'm going to trim it about maybe an inch longer than where that leaf comes off. And I am going to take the leaf off. I'm going to save them though, because I might use them later. Okay, and I want to trim all of them about the same length. Let's see. So I'm going to trim it just about right here. You see that? And I'm going to go ahead and trim off that leaf. Again, I'm going to save it though. All right, now I want them all to be about the same height. So I'm going to take them and I'm just going to compare them here. I'm going to take this and compare it to this one right here. I'm going to trim it about the same height. It does not have to be exact. Maybe. There we go. All right, so I'm going to get another one. And we're just going to do that with each one of them. I hope, now this one's a little bit short. Not too terribly bad, but I'm going to put that one aside. I might have to put a pick on this. I'm going to take the greenery off of this. Get hung up on something. Okay. All right, and I'm going to compare them. Trim that off about even. Here's the rest of them. Okay, I'm just going to go through this whole bush here. Well, actually I had one extra, I guess. I'm just going to trim them off about the same length. Just hold them up next to each other. Okay, save that. Like I said, you know what, I've got that one, I think I just had one that was too short. Where was that? I was going to set it off by itself and I didn't. Well, they're all about the same now, so I'm going to go with it. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to establish my height. I'm going to take my, actually, was that the short one? No. I'm going to take that and use that as my height. I'm just putting just a little dab of glue on there, not very much at all. I'm just going to take it and put it right down here in the center. And it doesn't have to go down very far. Say an inch or so. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more. About right there. Okay? All right, kind of give it a bend. This is a little bit oblong, so kind of give it a bend so it's not perfectly straight up and down. Think about nature. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take the next one here. Now these stems, so I probably could have cut these a little bit shorter because it looks like I'm going to be way in here in the center, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and go with it. And I'm going to take one of these over each one of these eucalyptus leaves on the bottom. Okay? Let's go right over the top here. Bend it down. And then I'm going to bend it up just a little bit. I'm going to go down just a little bit more. If you can't get it to bend down the way you want it, you can take your pliers, just bend it down at the base, bring it down just a little bit more, then just up a little bit, okay? Just like that. All right, now let's do the same thing. Like I said, I'm going over each one of these. Now, are you seeing how the recipe comes into play? How, you know, you get this recipe down and follow it, and then it's going to be really easy to then develop your own pattern. Put a little flare on it. I'm just looking to see if that's about the same. I think it is. All right, come back over here on this one. I forgot to take the greenery off of this. Down just a little bit. All right, I'm just going to stand back now and see if I've got my, the peonies about the same on each side. It doesn't need to be exact. Again, I feel like this one's over a little bit too far. Push him down a little bit further. All right, now we got one more on the bottom down here. I feel like each one of these, their leaves are on there differently. Okay. I'm going to trim this down a little bit. I think I got that one too long. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm going to go over that last eucalyptus. Bend it down, and then at the end I bend it up. Just kind of tipping up just like a flower would toward the sun. Okay, and again, it does not have to be perfect. So that's what we've got so far. Okay, all right, now we've got 4 that we're going to place around. We're going to go in between these guys. Okay. Susan's wanting to know how far, or how do you know how far to, in the edge from the plate, do you place the flowers in the foam? And I was always taught to come out of the center. See how most of all of everything except for this over here. Now, had I had stems on these eucalyptus leaves here, if I had had a stem that I could have placed in there a little bit farther, I would have. But I was taught to bring everything out from the center, and that's how you keep your arrangement a little bit more airy, because you don't have to have so much material that's going to fill in this space. Does that make sense? Yes, Valerie, yeah. If you saw, I was trying to cut them all about the same length. I just put them right beside each other like this, more or less. I mean, they're off a little bit, I'm sure. But, and then just cut them about the same length. And the stem on them are about 7 inches, give or take. All right. This has some nice eucalyptus leaves on it. I'm going to save these. silver dollar eucalyptus. All right, now we're going to go in between the ones that we put on the upper deck. We're going to put right over it, okay? Just like right here, I'm just going to go right in here, right over this. So it's going to be in between the other two peonies. Hitting something. I must be running into one of those wooden skewers or something, or a stem. All right, and kind of bend your stem also. Okay, so I just went right over the top of him. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. Turn this one down. I think some of them are a little bit off. As I said, they more or less about 7 inches. Going right over the top here. Give me a little place where I can go without hitting the foam, or hitting the moss, I mean. I think that one's still a little bit tall. All right, see how we're starting to establish our shape? So I feel like this is a little tall. Put them back down in there a little bit further. Or I may have to take them out and trim them a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now, got 2 more to put in. Here. And one more. All right, where are we going here? Right here. And if you're like me, I have to stand back every now and then and kind of get a better eye. If I'm right up here on top of it, I really can't always see what I need to see. So you'll see me kind of step back, kind of give it an eyeball. All right, I think we're good there. All right, so we've established our line, we've established our shape. Okay, and I did learn something not too awfully long ago. You know, these peonies, they are our focal flower, but say you don't have as many, and you're wanting your focal flower to really be noticed, they recommend not putting it here, not putting it down on the bottom, but putting it in this middle level here. Because they say if you think about it, that's where the eye lands first. So that's where your most important flowers should be. So it made sense when I heard it, but like I said, you're always learning. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to put in our next largest floral, which will be the dahlias. These dahlias. I don't know how many of those I have. Let me see. Okay, I've got 4 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these off. And I had this other stray one. I don't know if that bush came with this one, but I had this stray one. I don't know where it came from, and I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and use it. So let me look and see where we're going to be able to put this. Because I don't have enough to go in each space, so I'm going to evenly space these. I'm thinking about putting them in the bottom. I think that would be good. And I'm going to get rid of this greenery. It's kind of chintzy looking, if you can see it. Okay, Valerie's wanting to know her peony bush only had 7 heads. Is okay? Yes, you work with whatever you have. Yes. Oh, Connie says her question's been asked. I read your mind, Connie. Okay, Glenda said she went to the computer and that fixed it. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the iPads, but everybody's been saying their iPads have been really acting up. All right, so get rid of that. Okay, and as I said, I don't have as many as I wished I had of this. Well, I do, but you know what? When you go, if you go to Hobby Lobby and you try to buy this bush, notice there's one that is more peach, and there's the one more pink one. I got home with one of each because I bought 2 bushes, but they're not the same. So you got to do the best you can with what you got. That was my dad's motto. I'm going to just place these here. I'm thinking I'm going to just put them on the bottom here. Oh, look how pretty that is. I love it, love it, love it. We could put them up here. I think we need more coverage down on the bottom, so I'm going to put them on the bottom. I'm thinking I may want to put a little extra greenery before I go putting anything on the bottom, though, just because of mechanics' sake. It's going to get kind of awkward trying to get this in there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull out the lamb's ear. And there were 2 lamb's ear options. I ended up buying 2 of these bushes, and I don't remember which one I put on the list. Does anybody know which one I put on the list? Did I put the bush or did I put the spray? But this is kind of pricey. I mean, lamb's ear is pricey, but it is a good option. It has several different types of greenery in it, which I like, and that's what drew me to it. But I don't have very much of anything. And I decided I was going to probably need more greenery, so that's why I went ahead with the sprays. But either one you use will be fine. But I'm going to take this now. I'm just going to trim off some of these, kind of short. We try to ration the lamb's ear. Like I said, it is pretty pricey. And I'm just going to, let's see, that's probably going to be too short. I'm going to go probably about, say about 5 inches, 5-6 inches. I'm just going to try and find some that are about the same. And I want 1, 2, say 1, 2. Yeah, I want 4 of them right now. I think if I just take the tops off of each one of these stems here, it'll be okay. Now, if I I don't, like I said, I don't remember on the supply list which one I listed. I'll give you the SKU on this one just in case I gave you the other one. The SKU on this is 1736776. That's 1736776. And I'll put this on the updated supply list also. You guys might have to remind me. If I don't do it like right when I say I'm going to do it, then I forget. Okay. Let me get where you can see. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to stick it in each one of these spaces here. Right underneath the peony, right underneath the middle deck here. Okay. Dip it in some glue. Okay. Just about right there. Right? And just like we did with the florals, you want to bend this, give it a little life. This to come down just a little bit more. And again, I'm not sticking it right at the edge. I'm putting it in there a little bit further. Okay, one more. Okay. All right, so we're filling in the edge there. And as I said, I think it'd be too difficult if I tried to put that in after I already got the dahlias in. Okay. All right, now let me see what we're going to do here. I'm just trying this on for size. Okay. All right, I like that. So I'm going to trim this off. I want to stay with our line we've already established. I'm going to trim this off. And again, I'm going to compare I'm going to bring my finger back here and mark where I want to cut it. Where I want to go into the floral foam, actually. I think that looks good right there. So right here is where I want it to go in, so I'm going to cut it about here, which would be a little over 5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to take the others just like we did before. I wish I had more of these. They're so pretty. I'm just going to trim them off about the same length. Okay. All right, is everybody doing okay? Okay, so Vince says, are you saying don't just place them in on the sides near the edge, even if you bring them out, go from the middle of the container? Yes, I went in, it's in the middle. I went in about there. So I'm trying to see how I could get that. So it's probably about 2 inches. And again, that's going to help fill in that center and keep us from having to use so much greenery, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. And another thing I want to mention too, I mean, notice that all these flowers have their own space. They're all independent from each other. They're all got movement and that kind of thing. And that's another thing you want to see, you know, because I've heard a lot of people say, I just can't get mine light and airy looking. And these are kind of some of the tricks that I'm explaining to you that'll help you do that. All right. Let's go right over the lamb's ear here. And I'm going to try and stay with that line. Kind of bend my stem around. Okay. And we're keeping, like I said, we're keeping with that line here. Okay. Gotta give this guy some room. I'm gonna have to move this guy up a little bit. All right. And again, I'm going right over that top of that lamb's ear. Give it a little bend. Kind of crowding there. Don't want them crowded. Okay. All right, let's come back over here. Okay. And one more. This would be a pretty centerpiece for a table at a wedding, depending on the bride's colors. A little girl's room. Powder room. I don't know, it's probably kind of big for a powder room, but okay. All right, so we just filled in right between the peonies. The ones that were on the bottom. This one's kind of smashed here. Just take your hand and open them up. If they're bad enough, you can always use a steamer to open them up. All right, let me stand back here. This one's kind of crowded over here. Okay. All right, let me look and see. Okay, I did the spray. Okay. Susanna's wanting to know, would burgundy peonies go with the same greenery I'm using? You'd have to use something to lighten it up. You would be tending toward pretty dark with burgundy, but if you use something to lighten it up, you could do that. Maybe something gold, even some gold fern, glittered fern. I couldn't think of a word. Oh yeah, lamb's ear, I love it. Oh, green lamb's ear stem, okay. Okay. All right, let's see. Now, what else do we want to put in here? We've got some fillers. We have the rest of this bush. We could put in some of these roses that I was telling you about. We might as well use some of them. Let me see, if I pull this, I'm just going to pull down this leaf and see if that takes away some of the green and the yellow that I was telling you about. think it helps. How many do I have? I've got 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We could put those there. Why don't we do that? We'll take the roses out of this. I've got to do a repair on one of them, I can see already. The roses are a little bit blush in the center. I think if I get it away from everything else, it doesn't look so yellow. So I'm going to trim these off. I'm definitely not going to use the hydrangea part because it does look yellow. Yellow and green. So we'll save that for something else. Get all the greenery off. Like I said, I don't like that greenery at all. Okay, so we've got 2 of them that look a little bit more buttery, and then 2 of them that look a little bit more blush. Okay, this one here, I think it was this one, or which one was it? One of them was falling apart, but I guess whatever I did to it fixed it. So, okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to put, since 2 of them look one way and 2 look the other, I'm going to put those in the opposite sides. Okay, I'm going to go right in here in between these, the upper deck. Okay, and let me go ahead and we're going to see how long we want the stem. I want to keep my line. I'm going to go down here to the foam. So I bent the foam about right here, so I'm going to go about this long. Okay, so I just cut it about probably about 1 inch past where the bend was. Now I'm going to come and cut all the rest of them about the same length. Alright, so I've got these 2, the 2 blush looking ones. And it doesn't matter where you put them, just wherever you want. But I mean opposing sides though. I'm just going to put this one right over here. And again, I'm coming out of the middle. I'm just putting it right in between those 2. Might need to come up just a little bit. Right in between those 2. Right now I'm going to get the other blush. Since I put that one there, I'm going to come over on this side with this one. And I'm making sure I'm staying in my line with this. Okay, so there's the other one. You could probably come down just a hair. Okay, now we're going to take the more buttery ones and we're going to put that on the other side. They're a little larger than the others too. You know, I just thought of too, this would be a good Mother's Day. Mother's Day will be here before you know it. If you're lucky enough to still have your mother like I am. Okay. All right, so there's the buttery one. And then we'll go opposite, put this one over here. I have to say I'm liking this a lot better than I thought I might. When I got home with it, I was like, I don't know. But I'm liking it. Having to use the pliers to try to get my hand in there, I just can't. I'm running out of room and I'm trying to get this stem bent a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, see how it's all staying within the line. This guy over here just keeps on sliding over. Okay, now I think what we need to do next, let's put a little bit more lamb's ear because it's bulkier. It's going to be a little tougher to place after I get some other fillers in there. But really, you could put some more eucalyptus in there or some ivy even. Let me back up just a little bit. Or some ivy. I'm not talking about trailing ivy, but just to fill in some of those spaces. And you could be done. You wouldn't need to put anything else in there. We've got a good variety of flowers, good variety of shapes, textures, colors. So I think it's pretty. Okay, let's see what I do with that stem of lamb's ear. Not that one. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's just cut off a few stems of this. And again, I'm trying to ration it, so I don't want to go crazy. Just because of price, okay? But it looks like it's going to take probably this length right here. I'm going to try it. This is about 9 inches. I'm going to try it just for size here. Yeah, I think that will be good. So let me get another one. I've got 2 of these sprays. This one's a little more sparse. That one looks probably more like what I have to start with. Because we're really just going to see the tops. Let's see. I'm just doing the same thing I did before, just cutting, you know, trying to cut these about the same length. Goodness. I was going to go ahead and cut up the rest of this spray. Like I said, I've got another one, but I don't know if we'll have to use it or not. Goodness sakes. I'm going to have to get my other cutters. I'm just going to save that. I'm probably not going to use that. Okay. Let's fluff this out a little bit. And I want this one, it's the bulkiest. I want this to come up here in the centers. I'm going to put it right in between these two, well actually it's a triangle of peonies right up here. above the blush rose. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to come opposite of it and put the other one on that side. I may have to put two of them here. Looks like I got a little bit more on that side than I do on this side. So let me see what this looks like if I stick another one up there. I think that'll look better. And this has got a really thick stem on it. I'm having a hard time getting into the foam now. I'm going to put a steel pick on it. If you don't have a steel pick, you could always come in here. You could try just cutting this at an angle, the stem, or you could put a wooden pick on it if you can't get it down in there. But I'm going to get a steel pick, and that'll go right down in there. It just reminded me, I don't think we talked about steel picks when we were talking this morning. Okay, that balances that out a little bit better. You bend it just a little bit. Because I had a lot more leaves on this side than I did on that side. Now I'm going to come on the other sides here. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to come right here. I changed my mind. I'm going to put it right here. We're going to go in between now the dahlias and the peonies. Okay, just like that. I'll probably have to break out that other stem. Let's see. I'm trying to find a bigger space. This is a pretty big stem here, so I'm going to find one of my bigger ones, like right here. Right there. I've got some of those eucalyptus leaves hidden down there. I wanted those out and shining. Okay, got that right there. I've got one more of this stem. We can just go ahead and finish it right here. It's okay if it sticks out a little bit beyond the florals, but I didn't want it. You don't want to be running your line. Okay. Now, as I said, I think I'm going to have to get another stem here. We still have 1, 2. I think it's just 2 places, I guess, that we need to put some more lambs here. You guys doing okay? Oh, Blush and Bashful. That's funny. I never did watch that show all the way through. I don't know why. Just looking to see. I think I had that at 9 inches, so this will be just about right. That's probably a little long. Actually, I'm going to trim off these two leaves down here because they're going to give me trouble getting that into the foam. So I just trim that off. And again, I'm just going between the dahlia and the peonies down here. Now that's going to be too long. I can tell by that. I trimmed about another inch off of it. There we go. Okay. All right, I think I had one more where I needed to put it. There it is. And this is probably going to be the same thing. I'm going to trim off these two bottom leaves, and then I'm going to trim off about an inch. And don't forget to fluff in between. Okay. Oh, I love this. Love it. Love it. And you know, we've got a lot in here. Oh, I see a space I missed. You know what, actually it's not. It's where we put that more sparse. I need to put a little bit right there. See that hole right there? But, you know, we've got a lot of stuff in here, but it doesn't look jam-packed and, you know, everything. And this is my test. I always take it and see if my flowers jiggle. Everybody's got room. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. All right, I'm going to put something right there in that hole. Wish I'd have seen that before. I would have put that big long one. So I think this will work. Actually, let me measure it. I'm a terrible estimator. Except ribbon. I can always tell how long ribbon is. I don't know why. I can always tell you how big my bow loops are. Okay, I'm going to go right in here. Right there. See that big gape right there? Okay. So that's filled in. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for the hearts. Now, if something like right here, you know, that's the thing with lambs there. You can't really control where the leaves are pointing. You can always just cut them off if they bug you or they're laying wrong or something like that. This guy right here is kind of bugging me. I'm going to give him a chance. If he doesn't behave, then I'm going to have to trim him off. So, okay? All right, now, we have some filler flowers. Well, let's see if I have any more questions here. Oh, thank you, Vince. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Ethel May. All right, I brought in some filler flowers. I can find them. You know what, too? I was going to put these little spray ranunculus in there. Oh, thank you guys for the hearts. Thank you. I think that would be really pretty. Really pretty, like just like peeking out. What do you guys think? I think I'm going to try it. Let's see. I got to find out how many I have, though, because I didn't have very many. All right, I've got 2 full sprays. Well, this was full spray too. So we've got. Let me see. I'm going to count the larger heads. We can always put these buds in there later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. So I've got 9 of them. Let me look here. I for sure want to put some right up in here. So 1, 2, 6. I'm just going to trim them off and we'll figure it out. I have a feeling I had to put picks on these. These stems are not very long, not as long as I think I'm going to need them. I love, well, I don't know, I can't remember if Hobby Lobby calls these ranunculus or cabbage roses. I never know the difference. I don't know if there's a hard and fast way to know which is which. Okay, get this price tag off. And these would be what we call filler flowers. Now sometimes ranunculus can be the focal flower, but this time they're going to be filler flowers. I had some little spray roses too. We could have put those in there. The only thing with them is that they have pretty dark, I'll show them to you. They have pretty dark, kind of harsh greenery, and we'll have to trim all that greenery off. We could do it, but I think I like these better. Sometimes you spend more time getting the price tags off than you do putting the plant in. All right, now I'm going to trim these down even more. Put the ones with the buds off to the side. Shoot, I cut that. I didn't cut the wire, so we're good. cut it a little bit too deep. And I'm just separating out right now. I'm separating out the one that has the bud and the smaller flower, and then the larger headed ones. And we probably don't have room for this greenery, so I'm going to trim these off. Alright, and some of them have longer stems, so I'm going to place these guys probably right up here. I'm just going to try them on for size first, though. We'll see if we like them. If we don't, we can always leave them out. I'm pretty much liking them already, though. Now, I know that's not the right length, but like I said, I'm just spacing them, seeing how we can do it. I wish I had more, but I don't. So I've got 4 of these, so we could put these around right there. I'm just putting them right around the, well, no, I don't want to put that there. I started to say right around the roses, but I'm putting it on the opposite I don't want to put one, what I started to do, I started to put one right there, but that's too close. I don't want to put one so close to that rose, or to that other ranunculus. We could move it up here. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So we'll put those there, and then we'll put some down in between the dahlia and the peonies. Then I think we're going to be pretty close to done, you guys. Okay, all the rest of them have the bud. And that's okay. So if I want to trim it off. I don't like the bud. For some reason, I usually like buds. I don't like it on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and trim them off, trim the leaf off. As I said, these shorter ones I'm going to probably have to pick. You guys still doing okay? I feel like we've been on here forever. I don't even know what time it is. Love it. Good. Okay. Hey, now. Okay. Now let me see where we're going to put these guys. All right, I'm just placing these, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. Oops. I think we had just enough. I feel like I need one more larger one. Let me see if I got any small ones sitting anywhere. I've got this little baby one. Actually, this one looks a little bigger than that, and there's smaller space, so I'm gonna trade those guys out. I'll put this one right here. All right, so what I did, I just went around the bottom, in between, except, okay, let me back up. All right, so we put these two up here, right? I've been putting them in between the dahlia and the peony, but I don't want them where they're going to line right up. So this one I'm going to put down a little bit lower. If that makes sense. Because I don't want them to line up just exactly. So I just kind of randomly placed them. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue them in. And as I said, some of them we're going to have to put a pick on them. These guys are okay here. In fact, I need to trim some of this off. Now I am going to set these down a little deeper too, because I want something to kind of bring the eye in also. It's going to go right here. Oops, need my pliers here. Can't get my hand in there without. Well, the wire has separated off of the stem there, so I'm going to have to pick this one anyway. I don't know if the glue did that or just the fact of getting it in the foam or what. So I'm just going to bring this out here. Pliers again, gotta look down in there, see where it's at. And as I said, I want it down a little bit low. Then you gotta fix everything that you just messed up by getting your hand in there. All right, but like I said, I've sunk that down just a little bit lower than the others, and I feel like I'm kind of squashing that. Let's bring this back over here a little bit. But I set it down on purpose because I want the eye to kind of drop down. Okay? I'll go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and pick this one probably too. Trying to get down here and not get into the greens too. Okay. All right, again, I'm dropping him down. And if this gets too crowded, we may have to take off some of that lamb's ear there. Bend that out of the way where he's not crushing it. Okay, this one. This stem seems plenty sturdy. I don't know why it split like that, but we know it did, so. Okay, I'm just basically just encircling that peony there, the tallest one there. All right, I think we've got one more up here at the top. Okay. All right, so we've got all of them around the top, and they're a little bit lower than our line. All right, now let's go to the, I'm going to make sure where I'm at here. All right, now I'm going to just go start putting these, or gluing these in that we had placed in between the peonies, kind of like in this area right here. Okay. This guy's all smashed. I've got to fix that. Okay. right there. Actually, I'm gonna gotta make sure that I fill my pick machine before we go do the next session. It's getting low. I always get quiet, you guys. Sorry, I get quiet when I start getting toward the end here. I just realized I'm like, silence. I'm going to try to get this in there without a pick. Start focusing. Whoops. All right, I think we're almost done with this now. Just one more, I think. Unless I miss somebody. That's totally possible. Okay, all right, let me kind of do a look over here. All right, I remember that I was telling you about that one lamb's ear. I'm gonna go ahead and trim that off. It just won't leave this other flower alone. It keeps on squashing it. There, that's much better. I've got another one right up here. Love it. Love it, love it. Okay, now I've just got a few more spaces. I mean, you could keep on going. You could put another, like a teeny little filler flower, but I think it's good like it is. There are a few spaces along the bottom that we need to fill in just a little bit. And like right here, if you can see that area right there. And let's see what I've got here. We could probably just use, I think we have a little bit of this long leaf eucalyptus left. Thought I had a little bit more, but I don't see it. I don't know, that might be too much. I don't want that. I'm just going to put some lamb's ear along the edges there, where just those few spots where we need to fill in. Oh, I found a flower I forgot. Better get him taken care of. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, we gotta get him in there. You guys, I don't know if you can hear my husband up there. He's up there snoring. I can hear him all the way down here. If you guys are in my group, you know that happens every now and then, but if you guys hear some groaning and stuff, it's not me. I can get this guy bent just right, and he's not cooperating. There we go. All right. Let's clip off just a little bit of this lamb's ear. And actually, this would be a perfect piece right here. I'll show you how it just lays. That'd be perfect for an edge piece. I gotta find where I wanted to put it. Where was that? Must be right there. Okay, so I just stuck that right there. I think we're good. You have to go back through whenever, you know, I had trouble getting my hands in certain places, and you have to go back through and, you know, redistribute things because you're obviously going to mess it up. But, all right, I'm going to back up here, and then I'll show you guys the, whoops, show you guys up close. Now, it's places where it might be a little bit more compact than I'd like, and you just got to play around with it. Just bend your flower heads, and like right in there. That's a little bit compact where that little ranunculus is. We'll just move him over just a little bit. Take my pliers so I don't mess up the rest of things. Just move that over if I can get him to. Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I had mixed feelings about this, but this is a round floral arrangement. Oh, thank you guys for all the hearts. I appreciate it. I love it. And it's reusable. Like all I gotta do is lift this out. I don't want to do it right now. You know, lift that out, and we can reuse the container, and we can you know, plant it with the next season or whatever we want to do. This is kind of a, I think this would work for every day, although, you know, I think of peonies, I think of spring. You really can use them all day long in arranging, though, or all year long, I mean. So I'm going to look back and see if I have any questions that I missed. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you, Janet. Thank you. Janice wanted to know, did the lamb's ear spray come from Hobby Lobby? Yes. And I posted, I sent emails with the worksheets, all the notes and such, so you might check your email. Now, I will have to update it. All the supply lists I have put in there are tentative because, you know, a lot of ranging, you just don't know what you're going to do till you do it. And this is one such thing. But where will I put it in my home? I tell you, I probably put it on my dining room, or not my dining room, but we've got a kitchenette, and we don't ever use a table. I'm the only one that uses it when I'm working on the computer, but I'll probably put it there. I don't really have right now, we don't have any place in my living room I can put it, but once I get someplace, we're getting some remodeling done here before too long. Once I get that done, then I'll put it there, but I love it. Like I said, I wasn't sure to start with, but I was a little bit disappointed when I got home with the materials last night or yesterday. Or put it in a taller container, yes. Yeah, you could actually even do, like what I was talking about, that big, they call them a chandelier, or not chandelier. Is it chandelier? No, champagne glass, where they have the long, tall stems and put it over that. That would be beautiful. That's kind of like what my daughter had at her reception. Yeah, bridal tea, absolutely. Round foyer table. Yeah. Yeah, and you could switch this out for other options too. As I said, I mean, you could put different colors. You can do the same pattern for fall, summer, any season. Okay? Christmas. Think of a red and white. I probably wouldn't use the lamb's ear, but you could use, you know, like a frosted evergreen. All right, any other questions? Oh, you're welcome, Janet. You're so welcome. Okay, I think it looks like it's almost 6 o'clock, our time anyway. So we'll have time to get a bite to eat. I hope that my husband's let the dog out, and we'll be back here and reconvene around 7 for a triangle arrangement. So, and that's the one I'm excited about. Now I'm excited about this one. I love this. Love it. Love it, love it. So, okay. All right. Thank